Hello, good evening and welcome to episode 24 of Montague Island Books. And I'm delighted to say I've got one of my favourite authors that I've been trying to get on since day one. And she's finally here. Now, our guest author lives in Liverpool with a husband, 2 children and a grumpy dog named Bert. Is that still right, or have I?
No, Bear, I changed my bio. We had to get poor Bear put to sleep a couple of weeks ago.
I just realised when I was reading that, I thought, I'm sure I read somewhere something sad about Bert, so yeah, you'll have to update that. This is off Amazon.
Update now. He's here in spirit.
Yeah, he's here in spirit. She's got 2 BA honours in criminal justice and community justice. She'd been a probation officer for 15 years, and she's always been fascinated by the psychology of human behaviour and the reasons people do the things they do. However, it was the loss of her son in 2016 which prompted her to discover a love of writing and write her first novel, The Boss. She's currently writing the 6th instalment in the Bad Blood series, and she's also the co-founder of Perfect Crime Festival, which I'm sure we will find out more. Here's the latest book, but we've got a new book which Caz will tell you all about during her introduction. So Caz, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joe. I'm so happy to be here at Montague Island Books.
Right, so do you want to start by telling us all about your books and you, and fill in sort of anything that I might have missed?
Yeah, so I think you've given a good little summary there of my bio, but so I'm currently writing book 7 actually, so I need to update that part of my bio as well. So book 5 is actually due out on Saturday. That's Traitor in the House, so that follows on from Liverpool Loyalty. And then book 6 it hasn't got a title yet, although it is written, and that is due out later this year as well. So I'm writing book 7 in the series, and that is due out next year. So there's 10 books in this. It's the Bad Blood series. So the first one being The Boss, which I started writing back in 2016, as you said before. And then obviously we've got Back in the Game, Head of the Firm, and Liverpool Loyalty. So yeah, they're all set in the same series, set in Liverpool, Liverpool Gangland series, and they're all set in the same world and follow the same characters, and bringing in some new ones in Traitor in the House, and in book 6 you'll see a lot more of those new characters as well. So as I say, book 7 now, and there's a lot of some of these new characters are really interesting to write, and it's really good getting to know them. So yeah, really enjoying it.
Wonderful. So you're all ready for publication day on Saturday?
Yes, I haven't got anything. I'm actually going wedding dress shopping on Saturday with my soon-to-be stepdaughter-in-law.
So double celebration.
Yes, and we'll be having cocktails in Liverpool Town Centre afterwards. So yeah, so that's how I'll be celebrating publication day. And then I've got my friend's anniversary party in the evening, so it'll be a full day celebration.
Wonderful. And just for anyone who's wondering whether to go out and put an order in for Traitor in the House, go and do it. I have read an early copy. I've just finished it about 5 o'clock today and loved it. I think this is the 3rd. Yeah, I've read Head of the Firm, Liverpool Loyalty, and the new one, and they're all 5 stars from me. So go out and start at the beginning. I'll start at the latest, but just get reading the books. And if you like gangland crime and UK crime, then you'll love the story. And Caz also covers a lot of issues really that don't get maybe discussed. There's the strong women aspect of it, and sort of the crime and illegalities of a strong woman doing that, which is something you don't hear of too much. There's also sort of gay relationships that gets discussed, child exploitation, and sort of illegal immigrants and all kinds. So in the books you do get all these kind of issues to discuss. How do you, because obviously you work as a probation officer, as we said, so how do you do your sort of research on the gangland stuff?
I was asked this question the other day in an interview as well, and I don't do a lot of research, to be honest. it kind of all comes from my head. I know that sounds a bit daft. So obviously the things that I observe and I see in everyday life are obviously all, you know, up there. And so I don't do actual research as such. It's kind of comes from my imagination. And ever since I was a little kid, I've always daydreamed and thought about stories and things that I was going to be in, and daydreamed about different lives. And it was only as an adult, like in my late 30s, when I started writing, that I thought, oh my God, this is what I should have been doing all my life, writing, because it's the perfect outlet for my constant daydreams in my head. So yeah, I didn't do a lot of research, but I did for Traitor in the House. It's slightly different. I don't know if you mentioned before, it's a bit of a different book. So I did a bit of a police procedural element to Traitor in the House. So I did have to do a little bit more research for that. But I'm lucky that I work with police officers every day. There's one in my team. So I just asked them, you know, would this happen? And I obviously know a lot about the criminal justice system anyway, and what happens when people get arrested or go to prison. So yeah, it was just a question of just getting some of those technicalities right. So,
great. And I loved how all the little sub-stories kind of thing all come together at the end. I won't spoil anything by saying anything, but I do like how, I mean, I think you've done that in most of your books. You'll have a couple of like extra thread stories going along, and they all sort of come together at the end. So, you know, I do love that. And, you know, reading the books, you would think that you'd done a lot of research, but as you say, obviously from your job and just taking things in, you know, on the street, you've obviously sort of picked a lot up that way. But it is great, the sort of extra bit. So we've got all the different books. Are any available in audiobook?
Yeah, so Liverpool Loyalty is in audiobook, and Traitor in the House is going to be released in audiobook on Saturday as well.
Great.
So we've got 2. So hopefully, so as I say, there's another 4 books in the series, 5 books in the series after Traitor in the House. So hopefully they will all be in audio now as well. And if the audiobooks sell okay, then HarperCollins might go back and put the others into audio as well. Yeah.
Right. And if people want to buy the book, which I'm sure there will be many, other than the usual, you know, is it just best Amazon, Waterstones, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so you can order them from Amazon, from the HarperCollins website, from any Waterstones. You can order in books. I mean, they're stocked in the Liverpool ones, but I don't think they're stocked wider than that. And also local bookshops in Liverpool, like Pritchard's in Crosby. They are always really supportive and stock my books. So yeah, and I think most booksellers, if you go in, if you've got an independent bookshop, I think they will order any book that you ask for. So I'd always encourage people to use their small independent bookstores.
There is a new one, by the way, Caz, opening in St Helens. So yeah, it's I forget what it's called, but they're on Facebook, so have a look for them, because I'm sure they would be willing to stock your books. You know, so that's great. So that's wonderful. So you brought a guest along with you who's been sat very quietly.
Has. Shall I introduce?
So please introduce us to your friend.
My lovely friend Bev. So Bev was one of the very first people to support my book, The Boss. So we know each other through online, don't we, Bev? And over the past 3 or 4 years, we've really got to know each other. She's always been a huge champion of mine, always supporting all of my books. So I write in 2 pen names. So she supports Sadie Kincaid books as well. So yeah, that's how we've met, really, Bev, haven't we? And just, yeah, as I say, always a massive supporter, always a champion. So over to Bev.
Hello, Bev.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Okay, I've got to tell you, like, my 7 favourite books. Yeah. It's crashing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's my end or your end, but the internet was
right
dodgy then, so I didn't quite catch what you said. Do you want to just say that again, just in case? It might have been my end.
I'm just a book reader and a reviewer. I'm not an author. I never put pen to paper, apart from when I'm writing down my reviews as I'm reading, whatever. I'm just a normal housewife, married to 30 odd years. Don't ask what the odd is, because I can't remember, but we were married in 1984. I'm a mother, a nana. I work part-time in a school. I'm just normal.
Great.
I'm from Sunderland, from the northeast. I'm a Mackham, not a Geordie. So that's about it. It's about it.
Wonderful.
Don't laugh about the Mackham and Geordie, please.
I was
don't.
asking the question before, what's the difference? And she said, well,
Yes.
not a lot. It's just a football club
I
that you
know.
support.
Right. So shall I tell you what my 7 books are?
No, we'll come to that shortly. We'll come to
Right.
that. So
Oh,
she's getting
oh,
dying to tell us.
sorry.
Dying to tell us. So first of all, just tell us, is it sort of gangland crime books that you're into that you got interested in Caz's books, or do you enjoy her romance books as well?
No, because genres to me are everything. I can pick up any genre if I read it and it's a good story. I like it. I've gone through family sagas. I've gone through crime, thrillers. The only really books I can't sort of understand and get into are supernatural. But I can go right through these, and also I can read about sex. And it doesn't bother us. Erotica, yeah, fine. If there's a story there, and it's a love story, and it's a good story, whether it's action, thriller, whatever, I can read. But supernatural, I just can't understand. Supernatural. I don't understand about dragons and I don't know. It was just something I did try, but like I say, any genre I can read, and if it's a good story and there's a good story in it, and there's a good twist or whatever, and there's a good ending, then I will read it. I must admit, I have picked up books and I've read and gone, oh crap. You know what I mean? And think, oh, so I put it down. I leave it down for a couple of days, then I go back to it, pick it up again. If I read it again and I can't read it, I don't read it.
No.
I don't review it. I
Life's
don't
too short,
come on
isn't it?
social media and I don't say, oh, I read that book. Don't bother with it. Crap. Because every reader has their own preference.
Yeah, they do.
Nobody's the same. They all have their own preference. So I never put anybody down. The only people I put down is if they're putting an author down on social media, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
I say do it behind closed doors. Just get in touch and say, I'm sorry, I've read your book.
Yeah.
I got so far and it wasn't to my taste. Not that it's a load of crap. It wasn't to my taste.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Criticism, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what reading and reviewing's about. And I know everybody on here will know what reviews are when you see a 1-star and say, I haven't read it yet.
Or a 1-star review and
the wife didn't like it.
the Kindle was broke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get them. You get them
time.
You know, but that's the name of the game. That's the way it is with reading. You know.
That's great. Well, it's great to have you here, Bev, and we'll be with you very soon on your choice of books. So, talking about reviews, what is the funniest or strangest review you've had, Caz?
Oh, just talking about loose ends being tied up before. So I got a 1-star review. It was a couple of months ago. And it was the review was complaining that I'd tied all the loose ends up neatly. So I was a bit like, well, that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange review. The other one though I've got was just utter rubbish. Nothing like Linda LaPlante. And I was like, I've never said
that. Oh, that's funny.
So they're the two that stick in my mind. But when I first started writing, and I was thinking, oh no, I'm not. I mean, I'm really lucky. I've had so much support and so many amazing reviews. And I thought, what am I going to do when I get my first star review? I'm going to really be so upset. And actually, now they just kind of roll off.
Yeah, you've not made it until you get your 1-star review. That's what we say.
Rite of passage.
Yeah, that's right. Now, we mentioned as well about Sadie Kincaid. So how do you, I mean, the way you churn out books, how many is it you've written this year altogether for both Caz and Sadie?
6.
Wow. And we're only in July and you've written 6 books. How do you, well, first of all, how did you manage to do that on top of your day job and looking after your family? And secondly, how do you manage to keep the two separate?
So I think the way that I managed to do it is that I just love writing so much. So I'm still a fairly new author. I've only been published since 2019. And because I love it so much, I think it's the passion for it that really drives me to keep writing so much. And I do write quick anyway. I mean, I can write 2,000 or 3,000 words in a couple of hours quite easily. And it's consistency. So I write every night. I write 2,000 to 3,000 words, and that's how I get the books done. But yeah, I think it is just the passion for it and the fact that I love it so much that keeps me. I mean, I've never written 6 books in a year before, so this is quite unusual. I wrote 4 last year, so that was, but they were all Caz books. So I think because I wanted to launch this new pen name earlier this year, so the Sadie pen name, I thought and because I self-publish as Sadie, because I wanted to try something different, I wanted to design my own covers, I wanted to publish, quicker. So I knew that this year was going to be a bit full on. So I kind of mentally prepared myself for it. And as I say, because I love writing them so much, that's, I think, what spares me through. And I know it's not sustainable to write that much. I'm work full time and look after kids. But for now, as I say, I think it's just the love for it that's getting me through. In terms of how I separate them, they're not massively different, because I just write about gangsters as Caz, and I write about gangsters who just have lots of sex as Sadie. Oh, look at that lovely dog.
Oh, look at that. Who can't get off that? John's dog.
Oh.
That's just taken us all the way now, hasn't it?
I know, sorry. I just see his or her little face.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not that difficult to separate. I mean, I've just stopped writing with Sadie now, and it has taken a little bit to switch back into Caz mode. But yeah, I think as well, because they're different names, I'm able to keep it quite separate.
So do you write a Sadie book and then a Caz book, or are you writing 2 at the same time?
Oh no, I write 1 at a time.
I was going to say, that would really, really do your head in.
Yes, I've got loads of books up in my head, so I have to kind of just get like a little page summary of an outline of this is what's going to happen to kind of get out of my head. So I'm writing 1 book, but there's another 3 in there, like, right,
wow.
me.
Wow. So do you tend to, do you plan your writing, and do you sort of start at page 1 and work till the end, or do you get a load of ideas together in like different chapters and then tie them all together?
Definitely not a planner at all. So no, I never start at the beginning. I might have started 1 book at the beginning. But yeah, I start usually at the middle. So something that will be a key scene or a key turning point in the book, or something that's just quite exciting, and I'll think, oh, I'm going to write that. And then the rest of the book kind of forms around it. So for the Bad Blood series, I've got an overarching outline of where everyone's going to end up and where everything's going to go. But then as I start writing, everything changes and different things. Like the plot for Bad Blood 7 changed the other night quite dramatically, because I went to bed and then I thought, oh, that's what needs to happen. So it was like, so the whole plot's changed, but it's much better. And so, yeah, I don't really plan, because I find things, I'm more creative when I don't plan. So I don't like to be constrained by a plan.
Great. So just for those that are listening who maybe don't have heard of Caz, but not really heard of Sadie, again, do you want to just give us a bit of an overview of those books, so they can go out and buy them as well?
I'm not sure. Anyway, I will. So I started writing.
Do we have to censor this bit of the programme?
I won't show any of my book covers. So I started writing. I actually wrote Dark Angel, which is my first. So I write a Sadie Kincaid, and the genre is, I suppose, steamy romance, but it's called dark romance. Oh. So I started writing it after I'd finished The Boss, and The Boss was out on submission, or it was being edited, because I had like 18 months before I got my publishing contract. So I wrote the very first draft of Dark Angel because I just wanted to try writing something different. I did want to write a romance, just like a sweet romance, but it kind of went really dark really quickly. So I ended up writing that, and then I just kind of left it. It was just for me. And then I kept saying to like my husband there all the time, I feel like, because I read that genre as well, and I kept saying, I think, I could get it published. So It was only just before Christmas last in 2020. I was like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and publish it. So I sent it off to, because I'm under contract at HarperCollins. I sent it to them. My editor was like, it's not really what we're after. But she gave me some feedback, like, I think you should do this, this, and this. So I did that, and I went off and I self-published. So I decided in February to self-publish, and my first one came out in April, second one in June, third one in July, and my fourth one is coming out in September.
Wow.
And as I say, it's just gangsters. So I've got I've got two series, one set in London, one set in LA. And it's writing about gangsters yet, but just with a lot more about the love story. And as Bev will confirm, a lot of...
Don't know what Bev's doing.
A lot of spice. She's getting her fruity wine. A lot of spice.
Yeah. A lot of spice, yeah.
Only available on...
Blank now. She doesn't know what's been going on. Now, we were talking earlier as well about the new series. You're able to design your covers. And I know I've been seeing on Facebook that you've become a font freak. So what is your favourite font?
Oh, Amalfi Coast. You weren't expecting me to have an answer there, were you, Joe?
I wasn't.
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
It is a beautiful font. It makes any book cover look so professional.
You're the only person I know that's got a favourite font. Yes. Great, love it. So just finally, before we dish you off to the island, how can people contact you on social media, etc.? What are you on Twitter and Facebook and etc.?
Yes, I'm on I use mostly Facebook, to be honest. So I'm Caz Finlay, and I take up friend requests from anyone. And I've also got a Caz Finlay author page.
Has Sadie got a page?
Sadie has also got a page, and she accepts friend requests too. And so they've both got Twitter. Well, Caz has got a Twitter, so it's Caz J Finlay, I think. Something like that. I hardly use Twitter either, but I'm on Instagram as well as Caz Finlay and Sadie Kincaid. So if you type them in, you will find me. Mostly Facebook.
Brilliant. So we'll now get your suitcases out, and we will start packing your things for Montague Island. Now, just for those who've never heard the show before, Montague Island is a fictional island off the coast of Cumbria, which was invented, for want of a better word, by Mike Craven in one of his books. So that's where I got the name of Montague Island from. But think of it as like Desert Island Disc for books. And you get to take with you 7 books. We believe that there is a limited electricity supply on the island of about an hour a day. So you're also allowed to take a CD, a DVD, your favourite food item. Now, because this is like a fantasy island, it can be a favourite meal that just keeps reappearing, or a favourite food item, and then a luxury item, which again can be literally anything. And we've had some weird and wonderful adverts in the last sort of 23 episodes of the show. So first of all, we'll look at the 7 books you've chosen. There is a fictional Kindle on the island with all the Mike Craven books as well, in honour of Mike, for the use of the name of the island. So Caz, first of all, what's your first book going to be?
So I have chosen a very eclectic collection of books.
Good.
Because I want variety whilst I'm on Montague Island. I'm assuming I'm stranded there.
You are?
But I choose to not come back anyway if I go there. So I've chosen a very eclectic collection, but my first one probably isn't a surprise to anybody. It is one of my absolute favourite books of all time. It's The Lady Killer by Martina Cole.
Yeah.
First choice.
Wonderful. Great book. So why that particular book?
It was the very first gangland book that I wrote. I wish I wrote it, because I read. And it was also probably the one that made me fall in love with the gangland genre. I read all of Martina Cole's after that. I've read that. Probably the first real gritty crime book that I wrote as well. Before that, I used to steal my mum's, Catherine Cookson's, and I read some Agatha Christie and all that, but this was like, I mean, if you've read The Lady Killer, I think I was only 16, so I used to sneak out Jackie Collins as well, which is probably what inspires the Sadie pen name eventually. But so it was the first book that I remember reading and thinking, oh my God, I love this genre. And it inspired my love for the whole genre.
Yeah.
And I just think she wrote an amazing villain in George Markham. I mean, he was so creepy. He just made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Yeah, he was just, he makes you shiver. Just thinking about him. And he still does now. I still remember him quite vividly now. Yeah. So.
And I think it's probably Martina Cole's probably got most people into who are really into sort of UK gangland crime. I think most people will probably say Martina Cole is what sort of started it all off. There was a great interview actually with her. I think she's got a book coming out next year. There was a great interview from the Crime Writers Association. I don't know if you saw it a few weeks ago. And she was on from home on Zoom or whatever. And she was supposed to have had a book out last year, and then she too ill. And then it got postponed to this year, but anyway, apparently it's going to be next year. But it was an amazing interview, and I'm the same. I got into gangland crime through a Martina Cole book, because somebody had it in work. I was working in a call centre, and someone had it, and they said, "Oh, you must read this," and I said, "No, it's a women's book." And then he said, "No, just try it. It's not honest. Just try it." And obviously now everyone's got a Kindle, so you don't know what they're reading. So and I think that's what's got a lot of. I think it's always been a very strong genre for women and women writers. But there's a lot more male readers and authors getting into the genre now, which is great. What a great choice for your first book. So, Bev, what's your first book going to be?
Oh, well, it was a very, 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 very hard one. But I'm going to go with, like you mentioned, Martina Cole. Okay? Kimberly Chambers.
Kimberly, yeah, Queenie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've read all our books. I've got every single one of them on the shelf. The Butler's trilogy is absolutely fabulous. It started off with The Trap, and this is like a pre-sequel, Queenie. You can read it as a standalone, but there's a big spoiler at the end. So I would recommend you did read from the beginning of the Butler's trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's fantastic.
And another lady who's like Caz has done, she's followed in, in the footsteps. Kimberly has, and she's developed her own thing.
My next door neighbour, who still lives next door to me, Carol, we were sitting in the garden one day and she went, "Hey babe, have you read this author?" And I went, "Who?" She went, "Kimberly Chambers." I went, "No." She went, "Well, I've got Billy Joe here." I went, "Okay." She went, "Would you like to read it?" And I went, "Is it anything like Martina Cole?" She went, "A little bit, but a bit better." She says, "I think you will enjoy it." I went, "Go on, I'll have a go, see what she's like." So I did. I borrowed it off her.
You got hooked.
And like I say, I sat down to read it. I couldn't put it down. It was absolutely fab. And that was my first book that I read at Kimberly's. And then I was down the library. "Have you got any Kimberly Chambers books?" Yeah, we've got some over there on the shelf. "Do you like that?" "Oh yeah, I've just read one of her books. Can I have it?" And every time a book came out, I used to go down to the library, pay me 50p to get them on pre-order. Can you remember that at the library?
Yeah.
But we used to pay the 50p. And that's how I started. And then I've just built them up, and I bought them off eBay when I went onto the internet. And I met her back in 2014 when she came to Sunderland to do a book signing, which was like unbelievable. I love her to bits, and for her to carry on like the way she is now. Even Caz knows Kimberly Chambers, and she loves her books. But this Queenie, it's just.
That's your favourite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be my favourite book so far what I've read.
And have
It's in
you
the
read
reading,
it once?
I do read family sagas. I read a lot of like 1940s, World War II. I read far back to World War One in family sagas. But to read a family saga and a thriller together,
Do you read Sam Michaels?
yes.
Because she's
Don't
Second World War.
worry, I've got her on the list.
But she's
I've
gang
got
on.
her on the list.
She's been on the show previously as well. We had a good session
Well,
with her.
I know,
I
I've got her on my list, actually. I mean, she's only wrote 5 books, but she's also co-writing for her mum, who's been going for a lot of years,
That's
Kitty
right.
Neal. And I've gone well back with Kitty Neal. And when I found out that Sam, I mean, I was just on Kitty Neal's like page, and she went, would anybody give my daughter a go? She's just started writing 1940 crime read, and she would like somebody to download that book and read just to see what it's like. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Georgina Garrett, oh wow. And I thought, this is different, you know.
Different, but you can see.
I know.
You can see similarities to Caz's characters as well in the
Yes.
the more modern day was.
Yeah.
But
This is what I like about books. This is what I like about it. When they put like the sagas and the crime thrillers all in one.
Yeah.
You know, and that is what Sam did, and I enjoyed it, and that's what Kimberly did with Sweeney.
Yeah, and that's what Caz is doing.
He went back in time and brought it all in together, and it's fab, absolutely fab.
Two great choices.
I was like, oh my God! I was like, oh my God! When I was sort of reading the end of it, I went, I've read The Trap, Payback, The Wrong, Tainted Love. I'm reading them off my bookshelf.
Two great choices though, anyway, Bev. So got 2 great choices. So we'll now go on to book 2. So what's your book 2 going to be, Caz?
My second book. Now, can I have a series of books, or has it got to be one?
We'll let you, if it comes together as a series, if it's like a box set.
It is a box set.
Yeah, we'll let you off.
In the spirit of, you know, what's the word? Diversity. Something very different from Martina Cole, and in the spirit of escapism, being on a desert island or a Cumbrian island, is the Harry Potter books. Absolutely love them.
Great.
Read them even now. I can't wait till my boys are a little bit older and they get into them. I absolutely love them. And I remember when I read the first one, the Philosopher's Stone, just thinking, I must have been about 18, I think, when I first read it, but just thinking, oh, this is amazing. And then followed, couldn't wait. I was one of those sad people who queued up at the bookshop. We didn't have Kindles back then.
No.
Queued up at the bookshop, waiting for it to come out. So yes, I would take the Harry Potter, the whole collection. If I had to choose just one, it'd be The Prisoner of Azkaban. But I'm going to take the whole collection with me. Yeah. Thank you for being so gracious and letting me.
Great, yeah. And I was actually looking at something today. It came up on my Kindle. I think apparently book 1, you can now ask Siri. Ask Alexa to read Harry Potter book 1, and you can listen to it free. And it's narrated by Stephen Fry.
Oh,
but I'm not really into audiobooks, but I saw that and I thought, oh God, I bet a lot of people will be listening to that. So you just say to Alexa, play, well, I won't say it because she's looking at me now. She's come on because I've said the word. But say that name and say, play book 1 of Harry Potter. Shut up. I'm not talking. Just a second. She's talking back to me there. But anyway, that's a great choice, and with the full series, it'll take you some time to get through that, won't it? So that's really good. So Bev, what's your book number 2 from your lovely little display?
You've already mentioned that, Sam Michael.
Ooh,
Sam Michael.
And which book did you choose?
So hang on a minute, I'm just getting my phone. And I'm going to show you my favourite Sam Michael's book. That is Sirens.
Sirens.
That was the best one I read of Georgina Garrett, and it came out in April 2021.
Yeah.
Became a bestseller even before its publication day, and all of our books have become bestsellers.
And what is it about that book that you particularly like?
Unbelievable how they all hit the Amazon chart, you know.
And what is it about that particular book that you like?
It was the action in it, the total action, and it was the thrill. Georgina Garrett's no longer younger, like what she was, and people were walking all over her and everything. She's more feisty, and it was more action.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know,
But she's grown up, she's matured, a bit like
you
Grace in
couldn't- I
Caz's
know,
book, really, yeah. But yeah.
It was just full on, sort of. You know, it was to me. I just thought this is the best one. She started off very, very shy, and her book was okay, and then our second one was all right, and then our third one. But this one, smack bang. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you
It's
enjoyed
just
that.
getting better and better and better. And wait a minute.
Kitty Neal, that's a mum. Yeah. That's right.
Co-wrote by Sam.
Right.
And that's also gritty.
Yeah.
A very gritty
Yeah.
book.
And they're both lovely people. As I say, I had them on the
she's
show a couple of
right
months
to
ago.
age,
And
She's writing like Caz. She's writing 2 different genders,
yeah.
2 different names. She's helping her mum,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just, I don't know, it's just something about Sam. I think she's going to go really far. She is
Great,
really
wonderful.
gonna go far.
Well, great choice, and we've had some good books so far. So, and we've only done 2. So now on to book number 3, Caz. What you taking next in your suitcase?
To satisfy the romantic in me and the classicist in me, as Wuthering Heights. I know it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? But I love that book. I love Cathy and Heathcliff. Heathcliff is probably the first bad boy that I really, literary bad boy that I
Yeah.
it's just an amazing book, isn't it? And it transports you to the Yorkshire Moors, doesn't it, when you read it?
Caz, you need to pay a visit to Horsworth, the Bronte country.
What do I need to do?
Horsworth in Bronte, the Bronte
yeah.
country. I've been to the Bronte house. It's absolutely fabulous.
Oh yeah.
You need to take a visit.
And it's a book that never really grows old, does it? It's like, well, like a lot of the classics, you know, it's as meaningful today as it was, you know, when it was written. It
was groundbreaking when she wrote it, wasn't it? I mean, she wrote about such taboo subjects for a woman, you know, back then. It was, lovely.
For a woman actually writing as well. That's that. But yeah, classic book. I think we've had others choose that. I can't remember who it was, but I know we've had others choose that book. It's a popular one. So Bev, what is your third book?
Radio, let's have a look. Okay, all these books on my shelf.
Well, what about what's the big pile? Is that all one author?
They're all by the same author.
Wow.
The Shipyard Girls, Nancy Ravel.
Right. And is that your favourite one?
From Sunderland, she's a Sunderland author, and she writes about our shipyard, Thompson Shipyard.
All right.
It's just amazing. 1940s, all the way through the war years. Women welders taking over the work from the men while they were away fighting.
Yeah. And is that your favourite one?
Oh, absolutely fab. I mean, I can tell you now, I belong to Sunderland, and there's not one person in Sunderland that hasn't got a member of the family that worked in the shipyard over the years. Everybody has a member of the family. I have 4 uncles, and they all worked there in the shipyard. But these books, historical, they're just, every one of them, it's just, you just feel like you're in there, you're there with them, and you know, women welders working. It's pretty scary. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the work. No way. But they
it is mad, isn't it, when you think back to what went on?
She's wrote 10 so far, and she's got a contract with her publishers to write another 5.
Wow.
So that'll bring it up to 15.
I'll keep it busy for a bit, won't it?
So that's my next book.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
definitely.
That's Nancy Is it Rivell or Rivel? Rivell or
Nancy Revell,
Rivell?
Amanda Revell Walton on Facebook if you want to look her up. She's a very
Great.
good friend of mine. She only lives down the road. She doesn't live
wow.
very far away, you know. But
Yeah. Wonderful.
absolutely fabulous. Fabulous
Wonderful.
book.
Great. And so we're now on book number 4. What's your 4th book in the suitcase, Caz?
Staying with the romance theme, but having a little bit of something, you know, a little bit spicier.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
got
go
to
with
take over, haven't you?
It's called, so the first one, it's actually a series, but the first one is called Bird to You, and it's by Sylvia Day. And that was really what kind of got me hooked on the steamy romance genre, the spicy romance books. So, I mean, I did read Jackie Collins back in the day when I was a teenager, but yeah. So Bird to You, it's called. It's really good. It's got a really good hero in it, this strong alpha male billionaire who it's kind of got some similarities to 50 Shades of Grey, but it's much better written and it's a much better characters. And so, yeah, I would take that just for to fulfill my spicy romance.
Yeah, you got to, haven't you? If you're writing that genre, you've got to take one from that genre. So I don't blame you. And while Beverley arranges her bookshelf,
Right, okay, well,
what's number 4?
We're going to go to Liverpool, Blackpool.
Oh,
okay.
Blackpool.
Maggie Mason. Right?
Yeah.
Another family saga from me.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. It's Mary Wood. Do you know Mary Wood?
No, I don't.
No. Well, that's her real name, but this is Maggie Mason, and this is all the Blackpool trilogy.
Right.
Absolutely fabulous. I love Blackpool. I can go to Blackpool any time of the year and I have a good time. I've been loads of times. But these books are absolutely amazing. I mean, she writes by Mary Wood. I've met her loads of times. She's a very good friend of mine. But like I say, it's the history in all of the books, like I say. And I've got them all here. All on my shelf, all in there.
It's funny because I was just, I know Caz has done sort of part of Blackpool. Was it Heysham or not Heysham? Where was it? Lytham, that was it. Yeah, Lytham. And I was mentioning on a forum, considering, you know, the people were talking about books, particularly crime books that were set in different areas, and there's not that many, considering the amount of storylines you could get in Blackpool. There's not actually that many crime books set in Blackpool. There's a few, 3 or 4 series, but there's not a lot, considering you know the sort of the people that travel through the town, the type of work that's available. You would expect there to be a lot more, you know, books written about it, but it's one of them. So it's interesting for you to mention, you know, for you to mention them being set in Blackpool. So that's great. So that's Maggie Mason as your book number 4.
Yeah.
So Caz, what's your number 5?
So I'm going over to the dark side now with some horror.
Ooh.
I'm going to have well, it was hard to choose one, but so I love James Herbert. Absolutely love him. The Secrets of Crickley Hall, I think, would be, because it's really thick as well, so that'll keep me going.
Yeah, and you can use it as a weapon.
Yes, exactly. It's so big. It can be used, yeah.
Yeah. So what is it about that book that really gets you?
It's kind of everything, because he's such a, I mean, the things that he writes are so twisted, and I just love that. And I think what must be in his imagination to write that stuff, but it's also got like that haunted house element, hasn't it? So it kind of brings all the things I like about horror into one. Have you written either short story or anything in horror? Have you done any horror? No, I don't think I could write horror. No, it's one of my. What is it that you think put you off it? I just don't think I've got the imagination to write horror. Yeah, I don't think I could I don't know. No, I've never thought.
That's your challenge for next year. I think you're busy enough.
Pen name, Joe. I get another pen name.
Yeah, we'll have a competition to give Caz a horror pen name.
I think it's such a difficult genre to write, isn't it? Because it's got to be. I mean, lots of genres are difficult to write, but I think horror, to nail horror, you've got to be spot on, and you've got to have some twisted imagination. Definitely,
yeah, and you've got to be able to sort of switch that twisted imagination on and off, haven't you? You know, it's definitely a hard one, and it's probably harder to write a horror book because you've got to build all that tension than it is in the horror you see on TV, because they can kind of make it spooky and horror on TV, but to be able to put that across in a book is quite a difficult thing, isn't it? But yeah, great choice. So come on, Bev, what's next off your display cabinet?
Okay, so here's another crime novel. Sheila Quigley.
Yeah.
Do you know her?
I don't know. I've not read any of her books, I must be honest.
Right,
But there's that many authors.
Well,
yeah.
it's the late Sheila Quigley. We lost her last year. She unfortunately died. She's a big miss. She was a very good friend of mine. She wrote from the Sea Hills novels and the Holy Island trilogies. Gripping books, absolutely fantastic. I loved every one of them. I actually got introduced to her down our local library one day when I went down to pick up some books. She was at the counter. Talking to one of our librarians, Jackie, and Jackie shouted at us over. She went, "Hey babe, you know, when I gave you that book Run for Home last week," I said, "Yeah." She went, "Well, this is the author." And I looked at her and she looked at me. She went, "Hello there, pet. How you doing?"
Wow, that's amazing.
Down to earth. And then we got together on Facebook, and I started going to our book launches and everything. Down Waterstones, wherever she was, we would meet up, have coffee. She was a very dear friend, and she's a big loss at the moment to me. A very big loss. I miss her terrible. You know.
Yeah, very sad.
It was such a shock when I found out that she died last year. It was just heartbreaking.
And what is it about that particular book that you chose?
Very gripping, funny, gripping, a sense of humour. But you know what? It was the way she wrote. It was all the history that she went into, to put into her book, the travelling she did. She used to do a lot of travelling. She used to go out in her car travelling, and she used to go to places. And I used to say, "What are you going there for?" And she went, "Read my next book and you'll find out." And that's all I used to get told. And then when I did use
think of anything away.
I found out
so when was the book you've chosen? When was that set?
This was our last one. This was set in Hortonley Spring in Sunderland. It's in the Sea Hills. And the start was Run for Home, Bad Moon Rising, Living on a Prayer, Every Breath You Take, Road to Hell, Lady in Red, The Sound of Silence, Killing Me Softly. If you notice,
they're all song titles.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what she did.
My brother and sister-in-law live in Horton the Spring, Bev.
Pardon?
My brother and sister-in-law live in Horton. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law live in Horton the Spring.
Do they really?
Yeah.
It's a nice place. I sometimes go shopping down there. It's a nice shopping place down there.
Really I love it with all the titles being songs. That's great. Totty Lime Juice or L.M. Creer, as she also writes under. She does that. She puts you know, a song title as the title of the book. So
well, these song titles now, every time I have like the songs playing on the radio, whenever any of them come on, I think straight away, Sheila.
Yeah.
This is what I think of. This is her memory, you know, like all them songs and the book. You know, I think the book straight away. I don't think the song. I think, oh, the book, you know. And I think it's Sheila, and it is nice.
Yeah.
to think that,
Great. So that's your book number 5. So we'll come back to Caz now for book number 6.
Okay, book number 6, again, something different, is because I love a good conspiracy theory. It's the Da Vinci Code. I love that book. And even though we know it's like, well, some people might believe it, it's a load of...
Some people will. Flat all people.
I love the fact, I just love the fact that it could be true. There's like, it could be true. Or what if the Holy Grail really was a person? And I read that book and then I went off on like, there's loads of, it was inspired by a book called, what's it called? Holy Grail, Holy Blood or something like that. So I went and bought that and I read all about that. So it actually led me on down this huge rabbit hole about history and stuff. But I just love that book on its own. It's action packed. It's got a really great story. I love Dan Brown's writing. So
right, and it's a great book. Yeah, so that's a good one. So, Bev, what's your book number 6? Joy Ellis, Marsh Light by Joy Ellis. And what is it about that particular book that you? Because she's northeast as well, isn't she? Joy Ellis.
She does a lot of on the fence books. Writes about them. About this one, March Light, was absolutely written. Absolutely. From, she's wrote Nicky Delaney, Jackson's and Evans, and it's like unbelievable.
More, yeah. So what sort of year is that book set? Is that present day or?
It's a recent one that I've just read. This was a recent one. It was wrote into 21.
Yeah, but when was it set? When was it set? Was it set recently, or is it another World War II one?
Oh no, it's not a World War II. No, this is a crime thriller.
Yeah.
This
So
is
it's
one of my
modern day.
crimes. I'm off the World War II now. I'm doing the crime. I tell you what, I'm going to put the light on. Starting to get dark. That's it.
That's it. We can see you now.
Yeah, but Joy Ellis is fabulous and a bestseller, and she always will be. Doesn't matter what she writes, it's just gripping.
Yeah. It's with you, so that's why you're taking that to the island. That's
yeah.
great. So we're now on to the final book that's going in your suitcase. I imagine your suitcases are getting very heavy now, especially Caz with the
introducing everybody to new authors as well, aren't we?
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a lot of people who'll be watching.
Yeah.
And they'll be saying, "Oh, I haven't read her. I think I'll go and check that out on Amazon."
That's why I asked you to tell us a little bit about the book as well, because it gets other people interested.
I mean, I love Caz's books. I absolutely, and I just kind of, and I have read a new one, I have.
You have?
Yes. And did you know it comes out on Saturday?
Yeah, I do. And I've read it, and it is brilliant. So there we go. So I will be reviewing that tomorrow. I only finished it today.
I'm not giving any spoilers, bro.
No, I'm not giving any spoilers, but I love the name of one of the pubs where something took part, which I'm not going into.
All I'm saying is buy it and read it.
But for the great pub on the outskirts of Liverpool, that everybody needs to go. Anyway, we're now on book 7. So what's yours going to be, Caz, for your final book?
It was hard to choose just 7 books, I'll say that. And it's not necessarily my 7 favourite books in the world, but I just thought if I was really stranded on a Cumbrian island, I'd want a lot of variety. So I've chosen, it's 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini.
Right.
It's just a beautifully written book. It's about Iran back in the 70s and 80s, and it's about just the struggles that women have faced in that country, and it's just about these really heroic characters, and it's just a beautiful book. I cried reading it. And then he's got 2 other books as well, The Kite Runner and When the Mountains Echo. Then they're both beautiful as well, but 1,000 Splendid Suns is just, if you're looking for a real emotional, just beautiful read. Oh no, I've just remembered a book. Can I add an extra book?
Go on, why is you? We've never done this before, but why is you?
Because it's me. Oh, I've just remembered the Tattooist of Auschwitz. Oh, actually, I don't know how I would read. That was another really emotional read, but I don't know if I'd want to read that again, actually.
No,
It's a really good book.
some books are really good, they're really well written, but can be too emotional, can't they? It's like...
I'm not going to take that to the island. I've changed my mind. I'll take 1,000 Splendid Suns.
Right, well, that's great. Very eclectic list there of your 7 books. And Bev, what's your final book going to be?
It has to be a classic. Catherine Cookson, The Malin Street.
Another Northeast author.
Oh yes, so
We see a
and
theme.
I did meet her when I was with my nana when I was
Wow.
14 years old at a summer fair. Okay,
Wow.
and she told me, "You've just started reading my books." I went, "Yes, I'm allowed to read them now because I'm 14 years old." And she went, "Well, happy reading to you, and I hope you have a lot of enjoyment out of them." But
Wow.
now the TV dramas,
Mm.
and we're watching them on TV.
Mm.
She was such a lovely lady, and I was heartbroken because the day I met her, 3 months after, she passed away.
Wow.
So it was like, unbelievable. But the Malin Street to me is heartbreaking.
Yeah, and again, she's brought so many people into reading.
It was an inspirational story that still stays with me. I think I've picked it up and read it about 4 times, 4 or 5 times, even more. It's been televised as a drama on TV, and I've watched it over and over again. I know what the ending's going to be, and I know what's going to happen, but you still
want to
watch it.
You still enjoy
And
it.
that's one of the books that, it's funny how you always tend to take to the genders that you live beside, because you know the streets, you know the language, you know everything, you know.
Well, I was like that reading Caz's book today, because she happened to name a place, and I won't go into too much detail.
Well,
she mentioned Scarisbrick, and I know Scarisbrick so well. It was like, oh, somewhere else I know.
Well, it's like me. Like, I've visited London, I've visited like Scotland, I've visited Liverpool, so I know all these places. So when I read the books by the authors, I think, oh, we went there when we were on holiday. So you recognise all the places, you know what's going on. But to me, Catherine Cookson stands out from everybody. She was my first adult author that I was allowed to read. And do you know, I wasn't allowed to read The People's Friend because of the romance story. Mum said I was too young. I was too young.
But
so
it's amazing how many books that you've read that you've actually met the authors as well. So
I know. Well, I did. Well, I've been very lucky with social media and like where we live. You know, I've met a lot of authors.
Great.
And,
wonderful.
You know, I mean, I can take a trip to Liverpool and hey, Caz, I'm in Liverpool. Will you come and meet us and we'll have a coffee?
Well, so that we've got all 7 books now from both of you. A great selection.
I'm assuming as well, Joe, that the only reason Bev hasn't taken any of my books to the island is because I'm there with her. Is that right, Bev?
And you'll know them off by heart, so you can just read them. You can be your own audio book, but in real life.
Definitely.
She only buys the books when she knows the author. She's met most of them.
Hasn't met me yet.
So that's it. So we've got all 7 books all packed. So as I was saying at the beginning of the show, we believe that there is about an hour's electricity every day. So you'd have to share it between you and, you know, bits and pieces. But you get to pick a CD today. Now, a CD can be a music CD. It can be, I suppose, it could even be like an audio book on CD. Or I'm just trying to think of what else you get in CD. But anyway, so which CD are you going to take with you, Caz?
I'm going to take a 90s dance CD because it's upbeat, it's cheery, it reminds me of one of the best times in my life when I was a carefree teenager. So yeah, and there's something about music, isn't there? I don't know about you, but when I listen to a certain piece of music, it just transports me to a certain time. So I think if I'm there, I'm bored, I'm lonely.
Yeah.
You know, which would be.
You've got Bev with you. You won't be lonely.
Yeah. Me and Bev can have a bit of a rave to some 90s Scouse house.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You can, yeah. So that'll be good. So it's going to be like a compilation.
A compilation of 90s dance music.
Yeah, great, wonderful. So that'll keep you fit as well. So Bev, what's your CD going to be?
Well, it would have to be going back to the 70s to the Bay City Rollers.
Any particular album?
Not really, but
So
the
like
song
a greatest hits compilation.
And we also have Donnie Osmond. Does anybody remember Donnie Osmond in the 70s?
Yeah, and Jimmy Osmond and the long-haired lover from Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I was born in 62. So by the 70s, I was a teenager. So they were my memories of my songs. And I tell you what, I drooled over David Essex. And all these glam rock.
Now I've got to ask,
Mark Cohen to me.
Yeah, Mark Bolan.
I was devastated when he died. And so was my mum. My mum loved him. She said to me, I'm sitting here crying, and I said, why? Mark Bolan died. And I went, oh, really? And she went, well, he wasn't very old.
No.
And, you know, it hit them more than it hit us because, but as the years went on, I thought, Mark Bolan, I wonder what he would look like now if he was still alive, because he did die when he was very young.
Very young,
you know? The only one I didn't like was David Cassidy.
No. Anyway, you've chosen the Bay City Rollers like a greatest hit.
Bay City Rollers.
So I've got to ask the question because I'm from the same kind of era. So I've got to ask the question: did you tie the tartan scarves to your wrists?
Well, at the moment, I'm more into like Robbie Williams, that Gary Barlow.
Yeah, well, you've chosen Bay City Rollers.
I know, but that's going back.
You can't have Robbie Williams as well.
Bay City Rollers were a Scottish group.
Yeah, they were. As I said, we had tartan scarves on the wrist.
The tartan scarves, the tartan and the trousers, what I used to wear. I mean, I'm going back a bit. I'm 59-year-old now, you know.
Well, I'm not far behind you.
59, not yet 60, just gone. But yeah, it's just like, I love music.
Yeah.
I grew up with the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I mean, it was like the 80s and the 90s when I had my 2 children. So they were listening to music. I was listening to the same type of music they were listening to. Yeah. You know, and
so you can have a real rave. You can start it with like 90s dance and then go on to 70s Bay City Rollers.
Yeah, the 70s Bay City Rollers. Yeah. But they were my first idols. Yeah. Apart from Donnie Osmond and David Essex, they were one of the ones as well.
Great. So, wonderful choice. But you don't have a good party on the island anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So the next thing you get to choose, again, we know we've got limited electricity supply, so you might not be able to watch it all in one go, but it's a DVD. Now, a DVD can be a film, it can be like a TV series, or it can be like a concert footage, music concert footage, anything like that. So Caz, what's your DVD of choice?
I am going to take the entire 10 seasons on one DVD of Frasier.
So what is it about Frasier that does it for you?
It's just time. Well, I think it's timeless. And again, I used to watch it when I was a teenager, and it's still, me and my husband watch it now all the time still, and we still laugh out loud at every episode without fail. It's just so funny, and and it addresses sometimes some quite tough issues, but in a really funny way. So yeah, it's just funny.
And it still gets played now as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's on Channel 4 every morning.
Like on a Sunday morning.
whenever we're off, we watch it. We're like, oh, Frasier. Or if we go away somewhere, we're like, oh, the next morning we get up, go away to the hotel. Oh, let's watch Frasier.
And how many seasons is that?
There's 10.
10. So
They
I
won't
keep
still
going
want to
for a bit.
date, I promise.
Keep you going for a bit. It's great. And Bev, what's your DVD of choice?
I don't watch them.
You don't watch them? Have you not got a favourite film or?
No, I don't, honestly.
No.
I'd rather have a book on my Kindle.
Wow. So you
I'm
don't
being
watch?
truthful, I don't watch them. I don't, honestly. No.
So you spend your time wrapped up in a book?
When you're on social media, you see them watching these series and they're watching them one after the other, like,
Binge
and I'm
watching?
sitting there saying, oh, when does series 8 come out? And I'm saying, 8? But then again,
did-
I
did
can
you
read,
have-
I can read a trilogy book,
Yeah.
like 1 to 10.
I'm
But
going to
that's
take
me,
Bev's
I read. I'm not
gonna
really interested in TV.
I'm going to take your DVD then, Bev, and we'll
Yeah.
take a Tom Hardy film. Any film, except The Revenant. We're going to take Venom. No, Warrior with Tom Hardy in.
So there you go. You've got
The DVD. I'm having yours.
yeah. I don't blame you. You can't go without one. You got to take one. If you're stuck on an island and then think, oh, I wish I brought such and such a DVD. Well, great. So now we're on to an interesting one. Food. So it can be a favourite ingredient, it can be a favourite meal, because we're on a fantasy island, so it might regenerate itself or whatever, who knows. So Caz, what would you take as a food to the island?
A nice medium steak, tender stem broccoli, jacket potato, peppercorn sauce, and a chocolate brownie with ice cream.
Oh, got the full menu. Good choice, good choice. And Bev, what would you take?
I would take a lamb Sunday dinner with Yorkshire pudding, gravy, vegetables, a lot, and I think I would take toffee, sticky pudding, and custard.
Yeah, you're both going to enjoy them, I'm sure. So both great
I'm a
meals.
proper like meat and 2 veg girl.
Yeah, super. So
that's
great
it.
choices. Great choices. So that's the food done. So are going to be stocked up on food. So finally, we've got, and this really can be anything, and we've had some weird and wonderful answers, but your luxury item. So what are you taking, Caz?
Can my husband be my luxury item?
Oh, why not?
Oh, that's what I'm bringing.
They might not be too happy, like, but you know.
Well, if I can't have him, I'll take my hair dryer. Because I can't bear it. Curly hair.
Husband, hair dryer. Husband, hair dryer.
Do you notice I didn't say the kids?
I did notice that. Yeah. So they're just going to be left to fend for themselves.
Be with them, Nan.
Good plan. Good plan. And what about you, Bev?
I don't know.
Notice you didn't say your husband straight away. You don't know.
Not really, no.
So
I've got that many.
So you can take.
I think it would have to be my Kindle.
Your Kindle.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to charge your Kindle
Oh, that's a good question.
up?
So we don't have any free Wi-Fi or anything?
Oh, no Wi-Fi. No, there's no Wi-Fi. You get an hour a day electricity, but you're going to be using that.
Well, it would have to be a suitcase of paperback books.
Oh, that was a clever one, wasn't it? You've already picked 7, and now you've picked a suitcase full of them.
Yeah. It would have to be. It would have to be. Do you know John on his iPhone now?
Yeah.
That's my brother.
Is it now? Well, we'll be saying hello to him soon, and he'll be able to ask you some questions.
And I've just noticed.
Have you only just noticed?
Hello, John. That is my brother. And he lives in Hertfordshire.
as Caz said, you've only just noticed
He
him.
lives in Hitchens in Hertfordshire, and that is my brother, and he's been sitting watching this.
Well, we'll bring,
And I've just realised, and I'm going, you know, when you, Caz, you know, when you said, oh, isn't that a lovely dog, right? That's our Vernon. And I went, oh, look at that dog, isn't he lovely? And I still never clicked on when I saw John's iPhone, till I've had a good look at his face, and it is my lovely little baby brother.
Oh, lovely to meet you, Bev's brother, John.
Lovely.
That's
Well,
my brother.
we've done all your choices, so you've got all your luxury items ready now to go, and you're all ready to go off to the island to start foraging and whatever else you might do on a Cumbrian island. I think probably the main priority at the minute will be keeping warm and keeping dry, but there we go. So we have got, as you just said, Bev, we have got a visitor with us. So John is with us. John, is there anything you'd like to ask your sister or Caz? You will have to unmute yourself.
Any questions?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's
I just got unmuted, that's why. Turn the volume on. Yeah. Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Am I the only one down south here, am I?
Yeah.
I'm the only one down south. Oh
You are?
dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear. We're
You're
going
our only guest,
forward
John.
and south.
You're the only guest, yeah.
Oh no.
So is there anything you'd like to ask your sister or Caz? Or anything you want to tell us about your sister?
Don't get me started on that. I'm warning you. Don't there.
If Bev didn't recognise you, she should have gone to Specsavers.
Yeah.
No, she shouldn't have went to Specsavers, no.
I saw your shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
John, you'll have to look up Caz Finlay books. You have to read them. Have a
Yeah,
look at them on the
I am. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start off with the boss. It's 99p. So get that one first. Okay. Okay.
Oh yes.
Well, thanks
I'm
for
always
joining.
telling them about new authors. I'm always telling them he likes his crime thrillers and
I do.
action books.
I do, yes. Science fiction first, but then crime after that, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us, John.
Yeah, no bother.
So just finally, before we finish, Caz, do you want to just tell us about Caz's books and about Sadie's books and where you can get them? Any offers? We've just heard one of the offers. Any offers that are on, when your publication dates are, and just give us all a reminder.
So my Caz Finlay books can be bought from Amazon, HarperCollins website, from most independent local bookshops would be able to order them in from HarperCollins or from a Waterstones, or I think WH Smith might stock them as well. The Boss, as Bev just said, is on offer at the minute, on sale for 99p on Kindle. The others, I think there's going to be some sales coming up in the future, but I don't know when they are because I have no control over them. But they're all available, yeah, as I say, on Amazon or iBooks, whatever e-reader platform you want. My Sadie Kincaid books are only available on Amazon, and that's via ebook or paperback. But they're all there. There's an offer on the second book at the minute, Fallen Angel, which is only 99p, but it is the second in a series. So.
Great, wonderful. And social media, if people want to contact you?
Again, so just Caz Finlay on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And again, Sadie Kincaid on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you're most likely to get me on Facebook because I am on there quite a bit.
And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, which I should have done, but we mentioned the Perfect Crime Festival, which I believe is coming up. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that while you're here as well?
Yeah, so Perfect Crime Festival is Liverpool's only crime fiction festival. So we set it up, myself, another author called Margaret Murphy, who's a Liverpool author, and Ian Skillicorn, who's a publisher from Liverpool. So we set it up. We had our first festival last year, and obviously it didn't happen face-to-face because of COVID, so it was online. But we've got our first face-to-face festival coming up on 13th of November this year at Liverpool's Radisson Hotel. It's going to be a full day of authors. We've got Anne Cleves, Mansu, no, I forgot Mansu Hallett, no, Mel Sherratt, Noel Holton, yeah, Sophie, Hannah. Just, I mean, if you go to our website, perfectcrime.uk, all the list of all the panels are on there. And we've got some Merseyside-based authors and also some authors. Mike Craven's on a panel as well. Right. Everybody at Bookends loves Mike. His books are great, aren't they? So yeah, our first face-to-face panel, face-to-face festival is 13th of November, Saturday in Liverpool. So tickets will be going on sale soon. We're a not-for-profit festival, so anything we do, our tickets are priced at just in terms of covering overheads, because obviously we have to pay for authors' travel and lodgings, etc. So yeah, and obviously our venue costs. So it's a reasonably priced festival, and it's got so many great authors and panels on as well. And it's also got, good night. I'll plug it in a minute. It's also got a workshop as well from the great Dave Jackson about for anyone who's aspiring crime writers. So we've also got that. So yeah, everything's on our website. Check it out.
And is it just going to be face to face, or is it going to be online as well?
I don't know. We may be able to film some stuff and put it online, but we don't know yet. But it's definitely going to be a live festival in
Liverpool. Yeah, great. Which is good to see all the live events coming back. So that's great. Well, Caz, Bev, and John, thank you for joining us this evening. And it's been a great session. I will be uploading it to social media and to YouTube tomorrow, and I will share the links on the usual places, so you'll all be able to share it to your friends and readers, etc. So they can watch. Final question for Bev: when you writing your first book?
Never. I prefer reading.
John did a little giggle there, so
never.
Just keep on doing your reading. There we go. That's great. Well, thank you all for coming along. It's been a great night, and we'll see you all soon. And it's great to meet you.
And lovely to meet you virtually, John.
Bye, Caz. Bye, Bye.
Bye.
Bye.